Welcome to the Ecomm Breakthrough Podcast. Are you ready to unlock the full potential and growth in your business? You've already crossed 7 figures in sales, but the challenge is knowing how to take your business to the next level. Join Josh Hadley, an 8-figure Ecomm business owner and investor, as he interviews highly successful business owners. Get ready, because you're going to learn specific actions you can take today to help your business reach its full potential and leave a lasting impact on the world.
Welcome to the Ecomm Breakthrough Podcast. I'm your host, Josh Hadley, where I interview the top business leaders in e-commerce. Previous guests include Kevin King, Stephen Pope, and Roland Frazier. Today, I'm speaking with Howard Tai, the CEO and founder of Signalytics, and we will be talking a lot about his experience being a top 50 seller on all of Amazon and the strategies that he has implemented to continue to find success time and time again. This episode is brought to you by Ecomm Breakthrough Consulting, where I help 7-figure companies grow to 8 figures and beyond. Listen, Howard, I started Hadley Designs back in 2015, and I grew it to an 8-figure brand in 7 years. But I made a lot of mistakes along the way that made the path of getting to 8 figures take a little bit longer. At times, I doubted whether our business could even survive and become a real brand. I wish I would have had a guide to help me grow faster and avoid a lot of those stumbling blocks along the way. If you've hit a similar plateau and want to know the next steps to take your business to the next level, then go to ecommbreakthrough.com. That's Ecomm with 2 M's to learn more. And as a special bonus to my podcast listeners, this month I'm giving away one $10,000 comprehensive business strategy audit at no cost. All you need to do is email me at josh@ecommbreakthrough.com, and in your subject line, make sure you say strategy audit and kind of plead your case as to why I should choose you as the person to win this comprehensive strategy audit. And don't worry if you don't win this month, because you'll be entered to win for future months to come. Without further ado, I am excited to introduce to you Howard Tai. Howard is a former top 50 seller on all of Amazon, and his origin story as a seller is an epic itself. Between selling thousands of units of hoverboards daily and battling with Amazon Incorporated on Amazon, Apple actually, on Amazon, the story of his humble beginnings is a story too long to tell. He began his journey as an educator by single-handedly spearheading the training of Chinese sellers on Amazon. The insights that Howard provided and the tools he developed led to what many in the United States consider the Chinese takeover of Amazon. He has saved, started, scaled, and sold hundreds of businesses via Amazon and other virtual platforms, and he's done it time and time again. So welcome to the podcast, Howard. Your bio speaks volumes about the experience that you have. Obviously, you've had a lot of success on Amazon. You've taught a lot of other sellers, and you've been able to help them, grow their businesses and rinse and repeat. You've just had success time and time again. So, Howard, let's dive it all. Take it all back. When did you kind of migrate from eBay over to Amazon then? What year was that?
So, we were actually doing really well. We were doing 8 figures before going to China, doing Amazon. We did, we did eBay worldwide. We're talking about worldwide. We were the first person to do eBay UK back then, when no one was really going towards that. I'm not sure exactly when it was, maybe 2006. Oh.
Okay.
And then we were going into different countries, First, local marketplaces in the United States, such as, I think it was Jet back then. You got Jet.com. You got I'm trying to remember, Rakuten.
Rakuten, yeah.
We got, what I think it was eBay, and then I don't remember exactly what other marketplaces, but then we expanded to other countries' eBays, other countries' local marketplaces. Prime Minister, Lazada, and Marlboro Libre, and so on. I remember there was a lot of other countries had really small little marketplaces that we were in. So mainly we're marketplace heavy, as well as on the side we created our own websites to facilitate some of the orders and stuff like that coming in, not just marketplaces, but also websites. And then from 2009, I wanted to kind of go to China because I just felt like we were doing wholesale back then, right? We're doing all these like MP3 accessory, netbook accessory cases, and we're saying, I'm shipping it from different factories. We were not consolidating it enough. We weren't able to put a lot of our stickers back then, because back then it was really everyone wasn't into like helping you label it a certain way because they didn't know. So we wanted to have a base in China to have everything consolidated so we can actually push everything to the FBA or our warehouse in the U.S. So we actually had a warehouse in the U.S. at the time as well. So we moved to China in 2009, Shenzhen, and we started collecting a lot of good talent there, employees. Back then, when employees was about 1,000 RMB per person. So that's it was really crazy.
What is that in USD? Just out of context.
$150.
$150. Is this like a month then?
A month.
Okay.
So that's where, and then it was really hard because I had to like my servers. I had to build it in US and kind of carry it over to China because because there wasn't really a lot of talent in there back then for the servers and stuff like that in China. So and it costs a lot, like 3 or 4 times as much as the US. So we're like, I was like carrying like laptops and servers back there to set up the first operation or company that we set up in China. So that's where that's how we started. Then we built about 150 people team through in China, maybe about like 100. And then we had 50 people in the US for warehousing and local marketplaces. So that we grew with. So that's kind of how we became 150 people strong. I remember that we had like 20 or 30,000 orders in one day through our fulfillment center that we built. So it was harder back then because there's no it wasn't like FBA. We weren't really in FBA until like maybe late 2015, 12. I forgot exactly when exactly we did. But we had to do everything ourselves. So learning curve was a lot harder. We needed to be proficient in warehousing, automation, and streamline everything and hiring. It's not like right now. So right now it's really pretty easy because you only have to worry about shipping your products from the manufacturer to FBA, as well as just doing the marketing side. So
fascinating. So no
customer service and no warehousing. So that's like half of the problems already.
Oh, yeah. Well, out of your 150 employee team at the time, how many of them were spent just focused on the manufacturing and fulfilling orders then? Like what percentage of your team was spent on that side of the business?
I would say 1/5 of the people.
Okay.
1/5 to 1/4 of the people.
Okay.
Because we had to have a lot of people packing and also looking after that side of the business.
Awesome. What's interesting, Howard, about your experience is that you are basically doing FBA, but doing it yourself well before FBA even became a thing, right? And so obviously, I think all of your experience on different marketplaces, and you were honestly in the early days of e-commerce shopping, right? Like you were out there, really kind of pioneering a lot of what we see today. No wonder you had such great success once you moved over onto the Amazon platform. So Howard, why don't let's pull back the curtains a little bit and tell us more about how did you become a top 50 seller on all of Amazon? What were the things that you were doing in the hopes of being able to share some actionable advice with our audience and listeners that they could then implement in their own business?
Well, first, I would say that right now in our environment, yes, back then it was a lot easier to sell on Amazon But right now, there's a lot more resources than back then, right? You have all these events. You have all these people who knows it, things, you know. From my side, I would probably say I was a little slower at the very beginning because we didn't have any people who are experts and knowledgeable that would be coming out to speak about things. So there's a lot of hope nowadays. So back then we would have to learn a lot of our things ourselves. There wasn't not much help out back then. So not even people that are within that realm of knowledge of selling international marketplaces. You know, there wasn't really a system that was there that would help you. So we had to build it out ourselves. So we kind of like either at the very beginning without the resources, hacked it kind of, you know, like how do we put the labels correctly where it prints out international orders, you know, with those funny European symbols like German.
Yeah.
You know, it's, I don't even know what you call it. So we had to replace it, replace some characters and this and that. So it's kind of like, it's a lot harder back then, but right now it's streamlined. It's so easy, you know, for international selling. So, and each person, each company, they have going through their own problems. So you need to right now be able to, for me at least, I had to go through like intensive, like from starting to sell on single marketplaces to trying to expand to multiple marketplaces. You need a system. So what system we used was like a channel advisor back then, before they even went public with Scott there as the CEO, and then they went public, and then we went through like before that it was like Andale, Vendio or something like that, and then we finally took Channel Advisor as one of our main software that we use for multiple marketplaces and so on. And then after that, we need to systemize the process. So how do we do that? We had to implement like NetSuite back then in 2000. I think it was 2009. NetSuite was probably 2010 or 12 or something like that. It was pretty early back in the days where there wasn't any of the integration through like how do we bring in all the marketplace orders into NetSuite. It's an ERP system. So I would say like people who are like almost eight figures, maybe even $8 million and up should be using an ERP to grow, to scale your business. Yeah.
And why is that? I think that is important advice. Why should somebody that's about 8 million and above be focused on an ERP system? Tell us more about that.
It's accounting, right? You have a lot of products coming in. You want analytics. You need to know your numbers. You need to know how to automate everything through workflows. So if you can do everything like that through automation, then you would probably need something like an ERP system, a warehouse management system, as well as like your marketplace system. So there's a lot of things that go along with trying to scale and be fast. So yes, it does cost money, but it's going to get you there faster, right? So this is how it is in the businesses. Things cost money, but it will eventually be more lucrative or be able to scale faster. You have employees, you get like cheap employees, let's say, here you would get like someone like maybe, I don't know now, it's like in the US it's probably like $4,000. That's the minimum wage right now, I think. So back then it was like a lot less. It was like $6 to $8, but in California. So, you're not going to get someone to be able to help you, at that price. You need to really actually find people who actually has the talent, has the knowledge on things, and be able to hire them, and then be able to help them with their knowledge already, come in and absorb their knowledge in the company, and be able to help build out the building blocks within your company that needs it.
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense. So as a top 50 seller on Amazon, what do you attribute a lot of your success to? Was it, you were really good at finding, trending products? Or was it, you guys had some amazing ways of like getting external traffic to your listings and just like your marketing was incredible? What do you attribute most of your success to becoming a top 50 seller?
I would say back then, right, there was not any much external traffic back then because on Amazon it was pretty easy. So within Amazon, if you learn how Amazon works, what the algorithm wants, you give the algorithm what they want, then it's pretty easy to go up there on ranking. But on a side note, like you need to be very, be very like ever changing, right? You gotta think about new marketing tactics. Like we were one of the first people who tried to do bundles, right? On eBay, if you see these products, why am I buying a Samsung cable when other people are selling a Samsung cable really cheap? I'm selling it, but what should we do? How should we compete with them? Well, when they want a cable, they might want a case. So we do a combo of a case and a cable. But it went to like out of proportion where we had to do like 15 pack bundles. You have a case, you have a cable, you have a screen protector, you have I don't remember, like all these other different items, So that is great for marketing, right? Because you're the only one that has that particular bundle. But the problem is there's a complexity in there. Pick, pack, ship problem. How are we gonna ship all this 15 products in a faster way? We're not gonna go through like linear, going through the warehouse, going and pick 15 products into a box, right? That's a lot harder. Where we had to invent a system where we go in and pick all the products first, put it in a certain section, and then go and get them and put it into the box. That would be a lot faster than having to go each order going down the warehouse from A to Z to one for all 15 items. But when we go through the A to Z, we could pick a lot more orders instead. So pick them up at front, and just like kind of like try to like figure out how we're going to be able to do this in a more efficient way.
Interesting. So what I'm hearing is that when you were looking at product opportunities on Amazon, you were looking at spaces you could compete in and then saying, how can we come up with a product that's differentiated, or what's our product offering that maybe is more valuable, right? And so you brought a lot of creativity and innovation into, kind of more boring markets, so to speak. Is that correct?
I would say so.
Awesome. So, Howard, right now you do a lot of consulting, right? I think you no longer sell on Amazon. Is that correct?
We do. We have a wallet we're showcasing right now. So we have a wallet. We do sell currently. We're trying to build a brand out of it with multiple different style of wallet and different brands. So just so that we can showcase what kind of services we offer and being able to scale brands and being able to exit eventually. So that's one of the things that we're kind of doing as a case study and showing it off to everyone. If you follow me on Facebook, you probably see some of the things that we did. We do blogs on it as well.
Awesome. So basically, you've got this wallet. You're showcasing and documenting your journey of how you're going to kind of scale this brand up then, which is awesome. Because I know, Howard, one of the many things that you have your hands in is that you actually do a lot of consulting for successful Amazon businesses and helping them scale to 8 figures and beyond. So, Howard, why don't you talk to us more about, maybe do you have any case studies that you can share with us about maybe some of the brands that you've been able to consult with? What happened when they came to you? What strategies did you help them implement in their business, and where did it take them?
I would say that there was one that I was in Hong Kong when I was stuck in the box with where it was kind of like I got to get in China for trying to get to China. I went to Hong Kong, waiting around for a year inside Hong Kong. I met a friend, at the time was like a client, and then becomes a friend. Right now clients become friends. So we looked in and did a partnership, and we did we grew the business about 2 times and became bestseller within that niche. There was a lot of things that we had to fix because he was getting attacked left and right. Built out a team, making sure there's SOP involved, and then KPI for the employees, and make sure that we also know how to do the marketing correctly as well. So we did that. We created. It was the growth was probably 100% within time. Maybe it was from 6 to 8 million to about 15 to 16 million, maybe something like that. So
awesome.
Yeah. So it was really a good case study because it's a lot faster, right? The hardest part is when you start up, you don't have all the reviews, you don't have all the things in place that you need. You don't have all the logistics solved or manufacturers solved or pictures done. There's a lot of things that probably it'll take you 6 months to kind of have everything in place, and then the other time you're trying to rank. At this point in time, back then it was easy. Well, back then it's a year ago, but I mean it was a little bit easier because Amazon changes every day. It feels like.
Yeah, I completely relate with you. And what I heard from that kind of brief case study that you shared is that you kind of had 3 things that you focused on with them. They were getting attacked left and right. And what I want to do, Howard, is actually dive into these a little bit deeper. Okay, so this brand was getting attacked left and right. What I want to dive into is all right, so what did you do to help mitigate those attacks? Next, you helped them implement some SOPs and an operating system, kind of more creating efficiency within their actual business. And then last but not least, you focused on some marketing with them. So I'd love to kind of get further into the weeds of those 3 subjects. Let's start with number 1 there. They were getting attacked. What type of attacks were happening to them, and what were some of the things that you did to help mitigate some of those attacks?
So he was getting attacked, right? So meaning that there was I believe 3 things. One of them was getting his node changed all the time from that particular, because in Amazon, when you're having a variation, and if some of the child ASINs are not the same, they kind of don't share the reviews. So they're breaking out all the reviews from, let's say you're having 10,000 reviews. If they kind of change your nodes on your child, it becomes whatever the child that you land on, you'll show the reviews of that child. So it's down to maybe from 10,000 you get 200 orders, 200 reviews for that when you click into that or you shows on that particular product. So that's one of them, and we had to fix that part. And do you want me to go in detail, or is that?
Yeah, keep going. So you had the browse nodes, and I guess, and we've had similar experiences with the browse nodes. That's as easy as just making sure that you're on top of it and creating cases with seller support to get you back in the right browse nodes, correct?
So you need to make sure you have a system to know when you get alerts for browse node change for an eSIM. So that's something that was there, and having some system that would automatically send out files up onto Amazon to replace any changes if they occurs. So things like that you need to make sure that you have in place, as well as a team to be there 24/7 between US and China. How do you set up a team in order for you to make sure that there's no gap between time differences, so you won't have any delays in having your product being updated.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Howard, what was some of the software that you implemented then to monitor, these browse node changes and being able to automatically, send in these bulk files to correct those issues?
Just create software.
So it was custom. You custom made software is what you're saying. There wasn't like a specific tool. You custom built something yourself.
Yeah, there's no tools out there. A lot of tools that we use that no one really has, so we built them in-house. So we having our employees going through. If you look at the case study, some of the tools that like how we are able to see how customers, other sellers, other brands are doing. How are they ranking the products? Going through all the history of all their past changes that they did within the product. You'll see how they ranked it. What did they do? What was the exact strategies? So within that particular niche, because each niche is different, and the strategy per seller is different. So you want to make sure that you go through a couple of sellers that are doing really well, because people within the top 100 BSR changes left and right. Within like the 3 months, they might be 30% of the people from last 3 months are still there. Eventually within a year, only 10% of the people from when you started a year ago is still in the top 100 bestsellers. So it changes left and right. So you want to make sure that you are there and you're doing it correctly.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Howard, what other attacks, did you see happening to that brand outside of browse nodes?
Browse nodes, and another one was changing to adults, adult flagging. We had adult flagging. We had picture changing, things like that. So we go through it and make sure that there's a system in place in order for you to be up and back up if someone is actually attacking you. We try to make it so that the whole listing is kind of more bulletproof, at least, than if it wasn't. There's a process where you have to document all your cases that you've been attacked, so that Amazon would harden or toughen your ASIN. So they will make it harder for people to be able to change it, even through gating your ASIN, gating your brand.
Awesome. Yeah, and I think what I want to do is we'll dive more back into some of the black hat tactics that you see going on today and what sellers can do to kind of protect against them. But let's keep going down this case study here. Talk to us more about marketing, right? What additional types of marketing did you help implement in this business that effectively helped them double?
The marketing, first we went through their listing, seeing which is, what kind of SKUs that we need to work on, and what kind of, product, like detail page and listing optimization, images, trying to make it the best of the best. The first thing I always tell you, before you go to marketing, first make sure that you convert. You have a high CRO page on your listing. So we're talking about CRO. That's mainly for PVC shops usually, but
right.
This is actually the same thing as Amazon. Listing optimization is probably part of it, but CRO encompass all of it, right? From images, videos to the way the product speaks that sells, to NLP, things like that is it's like a full package. So how do we do the landing? How do we make it so that people don't go to see your competitors more? How are you putting your products more up there through bundles? You have another carousel or a little widget that will block, or having your real estate on your part listing page being 100% of that. How are you going to get more of that, space, or having more of your own product on more pixels?
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And I think time and time again, as I've met with other sellers and had them on the podcast, product optimization and conversion rate optimization is one of the first things everybody goes to say, you've got to have your bases covered, right? That's one of the things I think a lot of people neglect. They start with their product. It has some success. and then they never go back and visit the product. And I know that I've been guilty of that in the past as well. And we're now focusing a lot more heavily onto just product optimization in general. So Howard, I would love to hear from you. Do you kind of have like an order of importance in terms of, you know, when you are needing to optimize a product for conversion rate, right? What are some of your go-to items or, you know, to-do list that you're going to look at to optimize a product?
Well, yeah, for the company, we have an SOP on exactly for a product launch, what we have to check mark on things that we go through, like example, like the bundle widget we talked about, the editorial that we talked about, being Amazon choice. We have to go through and make sure that we have Amazon choice on certain keywords that are impacting the sales most often. We want to make sure we have as much badges as we have. We have to make sure that when you look at the page compared to your competitor, we stand out. You know, so it's all about when you're seeing CRO, right? We're looking at CRO in the sense like, how do I make sure that when someone looks at my page, my product listing detail on search, how am I going to be standing out? First of all, it's our pictures, right? They see the pictures. Then they go see in the, maybe the front title. Then they go see in the how many promotions you have, how many coupon clips you have. Do you have are you new release? Are you a bestseller? What are you? And all those other little things like the small business and I forgot what the other things have. We go through and make sure that we have everything. So we stand out. And then when we stand out, we structure pricing. That's one thing. And then we go in and people click on it. So getting a high click-through rate compared to your competitors, like a funnel, and then through a product display page, how do we make it so that people are actually buying our products and not leaking out to the rest of our competitors, you know? So that we call it leakage. You know, we have a lot of leakage on our page. So how do we do that? You know, if you look at Anchor, you look at the product, you look at going to the product display page, you'll see that all the products sponsored is all theirs, you know, all the Anchor, and all the other products. You'll see the looking bought together, all Anchors, you know, Anchor products. You see like a lot of videos, you see a lot of Amazon posts, you know, you're all over the place. You're not letting your competitor come in and squeeze in. You got a good product defense. You have a good, you know, strategies, you know, things like that. It's like so much stuff that you can do that people are not able to do. Most likely, any 7 figures aren't doing it right, because not even 8-figure sellers I see out there that are doing it to like 100%. There's a lot of things that you can optimize inside of the CRO wise, right? That's just another, when you're talking about marketing strategy. Sorry, my light's off. When you talk about marketing strategy, this is something that is a must.
Yeah, I love that.
And then, like, you know, no one even does deals. You know, no one knows how to even do deals. From what I can see, they don't know how you can rank your deals onto the deal page, right? I don't think anyone that I know knows how to do that. So there's like so much stuff that is taking is not even they're not even doing, and they're trying to bring in external traffic where they're not even doing the basics principle of CRO.
Yeah, I completely agree with that thought process where people haven't even optimized and squeezed everything out of their detail page and product optimization, but yet they're chasing the new shiny object, which could be Google ads or TikTok ads, and driving all this external traffic. And it's like, whoa, bro, like, let's go back to the basics here and focus on our conversion rate optimization. You're the second person that I've interviewed that has used Anchor as kind of like the prime example as to like, here's a brand you should go emulate in terms of how they're doing their product detail page optimization. And I love to hear like you even agree with their PPC strategy where they do take like no competitors are even coming onto their page in those sponsored ad spots because they've got their defensive campaigns set up and running very well there. So I think that's a big takeaway for, you know, even myself and a lot of the listeners is like, go take a look at Anchor on Amazon and go follow the best practices. Like if you want somebody to go look at, that's the brand to go watch and see how they are optimizing their detail pages. So, Howard, you briefly touched on this. Deals. You talked about like creating deals on Amazon and then getting your product seen on the deal pages. I honestly haven't heard anybody really talk about that in the industry, but you went straight to that as like, hey, this is a big miss for a lot of people. So why is that? And tell us more about how you could actually get your deal found on the deals page.
The stuff that I'm talking right now, I've been teaching this since 2018 or something like that. You know, like this is not something like since 2018. Still, no one's doing it. 4 years, or maybe the people that are in my masterminds and the ESS, the Reseller Society group. But a lot of people, they don't really know what it is. But for deals, like how are you gonna? So if you go click on the deal, the top left-hand side, you'll see a deals section. You know, like a lot of people are doing that. They don't know what to buy. They're just browsing to see if there's any good deals and stuff like that. Like going to like Slick Deals, trying to find some kind of cool deals. Something similar to that, right? A lot of people are doing that. Don't neglect them. But you go there, you are trying to rank a deal from like when you're having a deal, lightning deal, best deal, 7 days, 2 days deal, you're able to rank based on how there's performance. There's a performance indicator that Amazon knows and will remember. So they will remember that there's this thing. So the better the deal it performs, the more you rank compared to your competitor.
Interesting. Where do people get access to creating deals? Are these like lightning deals that you're referring to then, or are they different deals?
Lightning deal, best deals, any of the 3 or 4 deals out there that you can see.
Okay. And I think the lightning deals are self-service. I think in order to get like the deal of the day, I think you have to reach out to an account manager or have an account manager on Amazon to do that. Is that correct?
Yeah. So there is a prerequisite of how much you have to have in stock, how much sales you're supposed to be able to generate before you go into the deals. Because if you don't have stock, it's just minimum. Like you don't have stock, Amazon will push your deals to so many high PR websites out there. You know, PageRank or Google rank websites out there. And if you're not able to perform, your inventory is gone. Then they're losing money. Also. So there's a lot of things that you need to have. For us, we always get the best today's deals, on our products back in the days when we were selling and stuff like that. You just need to build your trust within Amazon, and Amazon will come in and find you. So they're the one that found us to be the hoverboard. So they wanted us to be vendor central for our hoverboards for a long time. They keep on chasing, calling, and everything, and we kind of ignore them. But and also giving us all the deals, all the support. So you just need to know how to do it in the correct way. Like people out there, they don't know. They think that SAS is the only way that they can get account manager. There's a lot of other ways.
Right.
So there's a lot of things that people just need to be able to network outside, be able to talk to more people, to hire advantage. Like we say, your network is your net worth. How you're going to be moving a lot faster if you go and mingle with the big guys, right? Big guns, right? So if you're only doing it yourself, I see this a lot. It's always like, oh, I'm the best. No one's out there is better than me, and then they just sit there and then do it themselves. That's what I probably did, because there wasn't at the time like these conferences and everything as an Amazon. So I'm just doing myself, everything like that. I have to learn it myself. I'm sure I could do it a lot faster if there was a lot of like-minded people where you're using your brain, right? You're only one person. You can only process that much stuff in the same time, and then you only occur that much problems. But if you have 100 people in the room, or let's just say 50 people in the room, or 20 people in the room, that is using their brains and using and already done this kind of problem before, and then you get, oh, how do I fix this problem? You'll probably take 3 months to try to fix this problem, but they already done it before, and you can fix it in a couple of days.
Yeah. So Howard, what you're kind of alluding to is the importance of joining mastermind groups and being surrounded by sellers that are doing even more than you. That's why I love, when I get the chance to speak with you, you've got a wealth of knowledge and you're at even a higher level than where I'm at. And so every time I kind of take away from you is like some actionable steps that I can take to implement things in my own brand. So I'm a big advocate as well in terms of mastermind groups. And, Howard, anything else you want to add there?
That's the thing that I remember you're like in a lot of different masterminds, right? You know this kind of stuff. You're like one of the next level people that goes to a lot of different masterminds, which I do too. I go to a lot of different masterminds. I see a lot of things. We see a lot of partnership involved. We see not a lot of friends come out of it. A lot of gates open when you go to a lot of different events and masterminds, especially the masterminds. I think that you're in a couple of them, or 3 or 4. How many masterminds are you in?
I'm only in a couple. I was previously in War Room, and that's not a specific Amazon group. I am part of, if you want to call it a mastermind group, but Brandon Young's Inner Circle, right? So kind of part of Brandon Young's group, and then going to be joining a new mastermind. It's called a Breakthrough Mastermind, ran by Scott Duffy. Again, this is not something that's Amazon specific, but these are where I go, and it just it takes my level of learning and what I think I can do even in my own life and in my own business, takes it to a next level as I hear the amazing things other people are doing. I was listening to Alex Hormozzi's podcast too recently, and one of the things he talked about is he went to a mastermind event. He heard somebody speaking on stage that was doing $300,000 or $400,000 a month doing something. And Alex wasn't overly impressed by this gentleman. He was like, wait, if this dude can generate $300,000 to $400,000 a month, I know for sure I could do that and more. And so I think there's different things that you'll learn when you come to a mastermind group. The networking is there, but it's also just you'll have some huge mindset shifts. So I'm a big advocate of those. Howard, I think this is a good time to kind of talk about your mastermind. You do something with the Elite Seller Society, and you have a mastermind big, kind of event that you do once a year, I believe. This is something that I've been very interested in. I keep asking you about. I think every time I talk to you, I'm like, hey, do you have the dates and do you know where you're going yet? So tell us more about that and what is it all about? What content are you sharing?
So the Elite Seller Society is a mastermind that I created. It's everyone that's been in our event, our mastermind events that gets added into, and we kind of go and help each other within our group, how to solve problems, as well as if there's something that we can offer our group through other mentorships or through special things. I'm working on getting all our members their own account rep, so that they don't have to go through the SAS program or SAS program that really sucks. So they're getting really good quality employees in Amazon, being able to support them. So I'm talking to Amazon on that, on how we can actually make that work for our members. So that's just something cool that I'm working with. So things that a lot of doors open when you're in the mastermind. Like you said, mind shift, change. You're in a box all the time. For most of the people that aren't in these masterminds, I'm talking about if you're even in these podcasts or in Facebook groups, you'll never get the same kind of information that you really could get on those different platforms than if it was in mastermind. You probably know that, Josh. I'm just sitting there and learning, and there is this thing that out there to doing this stuff. I'm not ready yet for it, but I know it's out there, it exists. So I need to do it. For example, digital marketing. I'm into digital marketing. I went to traffic and conversion. I went to a lot of Harry's events, the weird events, really, and
yep.
I'm thinking about getting into those two masterminds, right? One from Roland's side, and also from Perry's side. So I'm looking into that. And they're not cheap. They're like maybe 25,000 a year. But it's from the war room, right? So.
Yep. No, that's great. And I agree with your statement there, Howard, in terms of, the deeper tactics. If you want to go deep with stuff, you need to start reaching out and joining some of those mastermind groups. So I think it's going to take your learning to the next level. Now, Howard, I would be remiss if I don't ask this question as we kind of wrap things up with you. You've educated a lot of Chinese sellers, right? And I think there's a negative stigma in the marketplace where it's like, oh, the Chinese sellers, they just want to implement black hat tactics, and that's who's always attacking me. Prior to this conversation, you and I discussed, and you're like, you see kind of the black hat tactics kind of, lessening to some extent or another. But from your experience, you are so well versed on Amazon. I know a lot of sellers are fearful when it comes to black hat tactics, but would you mind kind of educating our audience in regards to what are the active black hat tactics that you see being implemented right now, and what are ways that sellers can do to protect themselves in advance, as well as what do you do if you do have a black hat tactic that actually affects you and attacks your listing?
This stigma like, hey, you know black hat, then you'll do black hat, right? But in reality is, if a person has been in this industry for so long, they would need to know how to protect themselves. What kind of black hat techniques, like what you're asking me right? So like a computer security guy, right, who does computer security needs to know how people are coming in and attacking the system. So if you're like a programmer and you're trying to do like become like virus scanners or something like that, if you don't know what the other parties are doing, there's no way you can even create a defense campaign, or a defense project to help alleviate those kind of pain points. So you have to know this black hat stuff. If you don't know it, this guy or the Chinese or does all these black hats or knows all these black hats, they must be doing it. That's so that's one of the things that I really think that these people have some kind of it has to open their mind more. You have to know all this stuff. So going back to your question is, what was it again? I'm sorry.
Let's go step by step here. Tell us, what are some of the active black hat tactics that you see going on in the marketplace right now?
Honestly, I still see the same thing out there. People are changing images, featuring subnodes. They're attacking you. They're trying to get inauthentic claims. They're trying to say that this is defective, giving you reviews. But these are getting less and less because it's getting harder and harder to do. Like giving you negative reviews. After a certain while, the Amazon scans the system and it's all gone. But they still try to do it. But so there's a lot of things that Amazon is doing a great job at. They're actually helping protecting the sellers more and more. Maybe it's not as fast as we want it to be, but they are doing it, and they're a big company and stuff like that. But I really like how they're helping the seller community with that. So this is something that I really like, because a black hat is only very I would say something that you don't want to do, because it doesn't help overall market. I like to do marketing where we can actually do it within all platforms, not just Amazon, but Shopify. So if you know how to do your influencer marketing, your media buying, it goes all the way to Facebook. From Facebook, driving traffic to your website, Shopify, or to your Amazon, to Walmart. They're all the same. So you're learning a trick that's not just for Amazon; it's for everything. So for Black Hat, it's only for Amazon, right? And also, it's not. It comes and goes, and it's hard to maintain. Stuff like that. So I wouldn't want anyone to try to use it because it's not really something that is scalable with, which is what you're talking about. How to scale brands?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and it's encouraging to hear from your perspective that you do see Amazon, taking some proactive steps to mitigate those. It's by no means perfect, as everybody would know, but I do agree that, a lot of those loopholes are now more closed than they were in the past. So Howard, kind of the next question onto that is, what should sellers be doing, and how do they proactively prepare or, put up walls to prevent these attacks from happening to them?
Okay, so first of all, you have to build a team, right? 7 figures, you should have enough money, hopefully, because you have enough profit margin, like 20%, hopefully. You'll be able to have some kind of invest into building a great team to be able to look at this, through some of the software out there that alerts you for kind of changes in node changes or other things, but be able to have someone that will be able to monitor that more often. Make sure that all your products are secured, meaning that you're listed in all different countries of those with Amazon in there, so that no one can insert like keywords or insert some kind of image changes into your product. Make sure that you have all your fields inserted. So maybe it doesn't seem, it's so tedious, but a lot of the fields are searchable that you might not know. They're searchable and viewable. You should go into your category if you are serious about expanding in Amazon. You should go into your category and make sure that all your fields are tested. Is this searchable? Which field within this subcategory, the flat file, which of these are able to be seen? I used to do like Howard 1, Howard 2, Howard 3, Howard 4, with no space, and then search. Can I see Howard 1, Howard 2, Howard 3, Howard 4? And then I see which one of these fields are open, that are viewable or searchable. After I see if any of these are seen on the PDP page, okay, I know these are marked down. These are actually viewable. And then I go in and I search on the search bar. It's like Howard 1, Howard 2, Howard 3. Are these searchable? So you can insert more keywords in there, and you make sure that you have a highly searchable and viewable page, and things like that. It's like something you need to do. Yes, it's a hassle, but you're talking about a particular subnode, right? It's worth it. It's not even that much work for. There's a lot of benefits coming out of it, even with more characters that you can put in to be searched and viewed.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting. So what you're saying is, like, on the back end of Amazon, when you're creating your listing, right, there's a ton of different fields in there, right? And I think, sellers are like, well, these are the minimum requirements to, like, I got to get my bullets, my description, my search terms in there, right? Everything else, it's not worth the time. What you're saying is, like, Amazon is actually showing some of that content on the detail page. It's blank if you leave it blank, but it leaves room for hackers, so to speak, to implement their black hat tactics on your listing by uploading those bulk files or feed files and, manipulating some of that. So that's what you're saying is, like, just make sure that all of those fields are filled out and seeing what is searchable on the actual detail page, right? Is that correct?
Correct. Also, the things that you filled out on that page can reflect the searchability, not just the search bar, but also on your left-hand side. You see the filters on when you're searching for products. The filters are there. Like, you'll see if you put it in correctly, you'll get more eyeballs, because when people filter you, they will be able to see your product.
Okay, so you're also saying, like, when you're in your browse category, right? Let's say you're looking for a toilet, let's say, is the most recent example, because we had to replace some toilets in our house. So I went to Amazon and I was filtering on different sizes of toilets, right? So is it a 22-inch toilet, or is it elongated, right? Or is it kind of your standard round bowl, right? Those are your, like, standard things. But on the left-hand side, if you're on desktop, there's those, like, filters that you can filter by, right? And if you're not adding that content in there, like, hey, this is an elongated bowl, when a shopper like myself goes in and says, hey, I'm looking for an elongated toilet bowl, like, you're not going to show up, right? Because Amazon's like, well, I have no idea. You didn't fill out this field. All right, Howard, this has been awesome. You've shared a lot of advice with us. And so I've got my final 3 questions that I like to ask everybody. But before we do get to those final questions, I love to leave the audience with 3 takeaways, actionable takeaways from each episode. So Howard, here are the 3 takeaways that I have noted. Let me know if you think there's something that I'm missing. Number 1, one of the things that differentiated you as a top 50 seller on Amazon is that you are unique in terms of the product opportunities that you sought for, right? You were one of the first ones to create bundling opportunities. You didn't just say, hey, look, this guy's making a lot of money selling, cell phone cases. I'm just going to create another Me Too product of cell phone cases. Instead, you're like, hey, here's the cell phone case, but I'm also seeing a lot of frequent purchases with this HDMI cable. Let's give it away as like this free add-on. And now we've completely differentiated ourselves. So becoming creative and innovative with your new products that you're bringing to the market. Don't just look at Amazon and say, hey, this is what the bestseller's doing, so that's what I should create. Instead, say, this is what the bestseller is doing. What else could I do to beat that guy and make this an even more compelling offer and help the end consumer? If you're serving the end consumer, you will always win. Action item number 2, I would go back to listing optimization. And Howard shared, he rattled off a lot of different things that you can be doing with your listing optimizations. The standard stuff we've already heard about is like, all right, your images, your title, your bullets, your description, A+ content. That's well and good. But Howard also added on some additional information that I think are some easy wins for people to add on today. If you haven't introduced bundles, virtual digital bundles for your product, it's free and it takes up more space on your Amazon listing. Make sure that you got your virtual bundle set up. You could do editorials for your product, right? And there's services that will create those editorials. There's ways that you can run promotions, right? Getting on the deals page, creating lightning deals, creating coupon codes, getting the strike-through pricing. All of these are great best practices, and you could spend a month focused on each one at a time. But it's those 1%, incremental improvements that you're going to make that's going to make a huge difference at the end of the day. And Anchor is probably one of the best brands to kind of look at on Amazon today to say, hey, what does a really optimized product listing look like? And how do they make sure that they squeeze out competition to prevent leakage, what you mentioned earlier? And then last but not least, I would say an actionable takeaway is that people need to understand the black hat tactics. Go and understand what are the black hat tactics, not for you to go implement them in your own business, but you need to be aware so that you're not caught off guard and you're the one who is susceptible to getting attacked, because a lot of these black hat tactics can actually be prevented if you're just a little bit more proactive with your listings, right? I think the analogy was perfect. If you're trying to prevent people from hacking into your website, right, and you're a coder or data security specialist, you're going to be spending your time in a lot of those hacking Facebook groups or hacking Reddit forums or wherever they hang out, because you got to know what they're discussing so that you can prepare yourself and make sure your defenses are up. So, Howard, is there anything else that I didn't cover that you think we should kind of add to that summary there?
I think I already said too much already.
Well, you shared a lot of great content. Howard, last 3 questions. To begin, what is the most influential book that you've read and why?
Okay, so the book I would say is a classic. This is called The Art of War by Sun Tzu. This is actually, I'm always reading it over and over again because it's so deep, right? And it helps you mindset shift like crazy, because then you actually know there's more than just doing one thing. You want to look at the bigger picture from the outside. So not just within a box, just sit there in a box and do your thing, but you have to go look at it from different angles. So this is, in theory, this is one of the best book, and the book that I'm still, after all these years, I'm still listening to it. If you have a competitor, how are you gonna take them down? Art of War is the best book to look at, to listen to me.
That is a great book. I've heard it before, and it is a very deep book. That's one that it's difficult to listen on 2x speed because there's so much content flying at you all at once, and you're like, holy smokes, hold on. Let me take a step back. I've got to like actionably like dissect this thing apart. So I would echo your statement there, Howard. All right, next question. What is your favorite productivity tool or resource?
Productivity book. Okay, I know this might be silly, and there's all this software and stuff. I love to write everything down because then when I scratch it out, it gives me dopamine, right? So, oh shit, I accomplished something, And we're doing it by steps. And I'm doing another one. I did another scratch off the thing. Even though you might have a lot more added to it, at least you have this feeling of when you scratch stuff, how good it feels. But when you like delete stuff, I don't have the same sense of fulfillment or that same sense of dopamine coming in where I finished one thing, because it doesn't. It's, maybe as us, I'm like 44, and I've been in classes we always like write stuff down and everything. So maybe scratching it off makes a sense of fulfillment for me. So that's a productivity tool that I want more of this dopamine. Give me more.
I agree with you. And I think it is like, it's funny, like you could be spouting off a lot of different software tools and things like that. But, you're the second person. I interviewed Ryan Dice earlier this week, and he said the same thing. His productivity tool is sticky notes, and he jots down his ideas and his action items there on a sticky note, crosses it out once it's done, and he's got a big old stack of like accomplished sticky notes. There is something to like bringing a pen to paper that makes a difference. It actually triggers some neurons in your brain that open up your mind to different thoughts and ideas. So I like that productivity hack, so to speak, Howard. All right, here's my last question for you. Who is somebody that you admire or respect the most in the e-commerce space that people should be following, and why?
So Ryan Dice and or I would say Ron Fraser would be one of the one. The reason why is because they've created a really good community, right? That's something that I'm always trying to achieve. Making my masterminds better. How do we make this not just a group, a Facebook group? How do we make this become a brotherhood? Like that connection. How do we put an experience, some connection into this mastermind? So that's what I see that they do great. First, they have a great business. Second, they have a great community. Third, they have a great mastermind. And, how they do their stuff. So,
yep, I definitely echo that as well. We've had Roland Frazier on the podcast. He's one of the first podcast guests that I interviewed. So go scroll all the way back to his episode. It's all about acquisition strategies of how you can grow your e-commerce brand just by acquisitions. And there's a lot of strategies, not just acquiring another, FBA business, but there's media, there's intellectual property that you could be acquiring. And he breaks it all down in that episode. And then Ryan Dice just had an interview, so it's going to be probably right before yours, Howard. They can just go back an episode or two and listen to Ryan Dice about implementing operating systems in a business, just like you talked about how important it is to build out your team and then creating SOPs and systems to run things. That's one of your, I think, like wicked smart hacks that you would recommend to anybody, especially once they've crossed that 7-figure mark to scale above and beyond. You've got to be good with your systems and processes. So great shout outs to those gentlemen. Howard, last thing here. Where should people go to find you? If they want to join your mastermind group, where should they go?
So I would suggest everyone to try to get into the Signalytics user group. It's a group that for our company. That I would always announce stuff there. I would always be in there talking and stuff like that about stuff. So I would think that that's the best way. If that one, and also my page, my Howard Ty page, because my personal page is, my personal profile is already over the 5,000 mark. So it's hard for me to add anyone. I think that's the best way to actually, see what we have on the Mastermind side. If you contact me, you can always email me at howard.thai@signalytics.ai.
Awesome. Howard, thank you so much. For Signalytics, for everybody's information, the way you spell it is Signalytics. That's Signalytics. Okay. And Howard's also got his own, website. It's Howard Tai. Tai is spelled THAI.com. So go check him out. I'm going to be continuing to follow you, Howard. Look forward to joining your mastermind events and groups there. And so thank you for your time today, and looking forward to touching base again in the future with you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening. Visit ecommbreakthrough.com for more information. If you've enjoyed today's episode, the best way you can show your appreciation is by clicking the subscribe button and quickly leaving a review. See you again next time.